Hi guys, I hope you're doing well today. I do apologize before we get started. I am getting over being sick, so I hope that I can get through this video so that I can tell you all the books and manga that I read for the month of March 2024. I'm very excited. I read some really good things this month and got through some of my TBR that's been sitting here for ages, so I'm really excited, so let's get into it. First, I'll go over the manga because I know that that's majorly what we talk about here. But I do have a few books too that I'll put at the very end. So if you want to see those books, you can watch the whole video or just skip to the end. But let's get into the manga. First, I read volume number 6 of Crossplay Love Otaku X Punk by Toru. This is so fun. I know you've heard me talk about this over and over, but just in case if you're new here, this story is about two guys who, one is an otaku nerd, the other one is a punk, just a bully kind of, and they're both misunderstood completely, but they end up falling for each other, but not in the way that you would think. Like, one of them works at a cosplay cafe and dresses as a woman, and then the other guy falls in love with that woman, so then he doesn't have the courage to talk to that woman, so he dresses up as a woman to have the courage to talk to her. So now they're cosplaying as women and they fall in love with each other, and it's just a matter of time before one of them or both of them finds out who each other is, and they hate each other in their real selves, I guess. I don't know if this is going to turn into a BL or if it's going to just be a comedy or what, but it's really fun to read. It's funny, it's really short, but I've been enjoying it the entire time. I think it's worth the money, and every volume I get, I just fly through it. It's such a fun book. Next up, I read the last 2 volumes of Honey So Sweet. This is a story by Meguro. I'm a little underwhelmed by the ending, not gonna lie. I'm gonna keep them in my collection because I do have a little public library that we put in our martial arts studio that we're about to open in May. That's coming up very soon. We start moving into the new space in the end of April, so I'm gonna have a little library for the kids and parents and teenagers who maybe are waiting for their sibling to get done with their karate class. And I think this might be a series that I put on that shelf because I don't want to get rid of it necessarily, but also some of my volumes aren't in great condition, but I don't want to get rid of it yet. So if I can put it high enough to where the little bitty ones won't get to it, but also, you know, low enough to where a teenager might see it, I think this would be a great addition to that library. I might end up keeping it here at my house. I'm not going to get rid of it either way, but I'm just not quite sure what I want to do with it yet. I will show you guys that library once I do get it set up. I'm very excited about my little library I'm going to put up. It's not going to have a lot at first. I hope to have it set up where people can like donate books, and then maybe they can take books. I haven't quite decided how I want to do that yet. Either way, if you have not heard yet, which I know I've talked about this as well, but it has been a little while, this is a story about this guy and this girl who are both very uncertain about themselves in relationships. One of them has always been misunderstood that he was a bully, and the other one, she just has a lot of self-doubt. So it's their romance story, and it's very cute, and it's only a 8-volume series, so if you're interested in a very sugary sweet romance about 2 high school students, I do recommend it. There was a little bit of like a triangle, not really at the end, but it was kind of not really what I would hope to happen at the end. But they did put it in here, so I didn't love the ending, but I didn't hate it either, if that makes sense. The next thing I read is volume 3 of Honey Lemon Soda. This is by Mayu Murata, and I am enjoying this. This is one of the few yen press that I'm currently reading because they've been in good condition, and a lot of the yen press I see in stores have not been. I don't know what's going on, or if I just have really bad luck with yen press lately. But it is a thing that I will continue to say until I notice a difference. But this one, I haven't had any issues with the 3 volumes that I bought. So I will continue to purchase them. It's a $13 series for each volume. I think that's a little high considering this quality. I would expect it to be maybe have a color page at the front or the back, which they don't. Or maybe like a nice matte cover like the orange box set volumes have, but no, it's just like the plain I don't know. It feels a little cheap for the price that I paid, I guess is all I'm saying. I don't know. I guess I love Yen Press. I'm not trying to hate on them. I do really love their titles. I guess I'm just having really bad luck finding what I want in decent condition, because the bookstores I go to, if it's a new volume, they'll have like four copies of it in the store when I go, which is usually pretty close to the date that the volumes come out if I'm lucky. And they're usually not in good condition. So either people have already picked the good ones, or the store just gets a really high volume of damages. And they get that with Kodansha too sometimes, but I've noticed Yen Press tends to be a lot higher, even with like the bigger volumes of things. I don't know. But this is a good series, and I'm going to continue to pick it up because I do like it, and I am excited to see the anime when I'm able to. Not sure when that comes out, but I'm excited to see it either way. The next manga I read was volume 4 of Kimi ni Todoke. This is of course by Karuho Shina. I am loving this series. I've got to pick up more of it. I've been really enjoying my read through. It is definitely living up to the hype. I hope I can find all the volumes, so if you see them for a good deal, let me know. I'm not against buying them used as long as it's in decent condition. I am buying a lot more new manga lately because I've just been burned so much in the past like 7 months, and it's kind of making me bitter towards these used booksellers, because unless I can see it in person, I used to be able to buy from certain vendors, and then all of a sudden they were lying about the condition, and so I would get a book and it would be like torn to shreds almost, and the bag would be fine, so I knew it was how it was shipped. But this is a great series. I'm going on tangents because I haven't been talking to you guys in a long time and I've missed you. Anyways, the last 2 manga I read were volumes 3 and 4 of Orange by Ichigo Takano. This series is so good. I am so glad that I picked up this box set because I loved the anime. I think I was in community college when I first watched it. I might have been just starting my 4-year college, but I really loved this anime and I forgot a lot of the details, and so I bought the box set wanting to relive it. And there's also the couple of extra books that are included that I had never read. So I'm very excited to finish the series. But this is a story about a guy named Kakeru, who he has a lot of unfortunate things happen to him, and there's a lot of sci-fi going on because something happens to him in the future, like 10 years later, and his friends get together and write themselves letters to their past selves to try to fix what happens in the future. And they tell a lot of the things that are going to happen and ways that they wish they had changed what they had done, just so that they can try to make things right in the future. Oh my goodness, like there are a few things in here that are annoying because they are high school kids. You just have to take that. That's what you're reading. And people are going to be dumb and make dumb mistakes. But also this is a good lesson in you can't always fix what's gonna happen. But also, you know, fate's not necessarily written in the stars. I don't believe that, but I know everyone has their beliefs. But I do think that this is a fantastic series to read if you like a thought-provoking, heartfelt friendship story, a love story. I cried in both of these volumes. I didn't cry in the first 2, but I did cry in these 2, at least at one of the chapters, because there is one character, he's not necessarily my favorite character, but he sacrifices so much of his own happiness just to make things better in the future for certain people, and that tears me apart because it just makes me think of my husband. Like, that seems like something he would do. He would sacrifice his own happiness just to help others, and I'm just a sucker for a sweetheart. And this series is just, it'll tear you apart, but it's so good, and it is funny and cute, and it has really good friendships in it. So I can't recommend it enough. I'm excited to finally finish it reading wise and add it to my collection. That's all the manga I have for this video. So if you were just here for the manga, thank you for watching, and I hope that you will like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get on to the 2 books that I read. I am back into reading books again, if you didn't realize. First, I read the 4th Wizard book by that terrible author that we don't say their name anymore. That's all I'm going to show the book, but you know which one it is. It's The Goblet of Fire. and I'm reading through them for the first time because I do want to understand the cultural significance that they had. I watched the movies when I was young, but I've never read the books, so that's why I'm reading them. I bought all of them used. I do not give my money to this person because I do think that they're a horrible human being who, I just don't want to go into it. You can Google what has happened. It's very easy to find out, and I do not support them. But I bought this from someone used, paid like $6 for it. Got it off their bookshelf, and I'm just gonna keep it in my personal collection just because I like to keep books that I did read and somewhat enjoy. I gave it 3 stars, not because it's a terrible book, but for one, I do have to take off a star for how awful the author is. I'm just gonna be completely honest. So we're already starting at 4. I go down from there. I did not care for a lot of the way that characters were talked about. What was the whole deal with Hermione trying to do the house elf thing and that just being pointless? Like there was so much of it in the book, and then it was just not important at all. And I'm wondering, is that going to come back in the 5th book? Because what was the point of that? And it wasn't in the movies, which I get why it wasn't, because it was just pointless, but maybe it'll come back in the next book and I'll eat my words. And then I just didn't like the characters, like Harry, Ron, and Hermione. They were all unlikable. I did not enjoy reading from their perspectives. Most of the characters were terrible and would not react in any of the ways that they're reacting. And while I get it is fiction and a fantasy world, I just felt like, I don't know, it just felt a little badly written, honestly. It felt the dialogue was very weak, and I like the idea of it. I do. I think that if I had never seen the movies, I think the impact of the death that happens in this book would have been a lot harder and maybe like shocking if you were really into these as a kid. I could definitely see you getting to that point and being so upset or so shocked. But for me, it was lackluster and the writing wasn't that great, and I hate the author. So yeah, we're just gonna move on. You do not have to let me know your thoughts in the comments if you do not want to. That's okay. The last book I read was a short horror novella that I've had on my TBR for over a couple years now. I bought it at my local bookstore and I've been dying to read it. It's Sour Candy by Keelan Patrick Burke. I did really like, what was the other one I read? It was a snowy ice version of a novella with a lot of short stories in it. This one's just a single story. And I heard that this was really eerie and creepy, and it's about creepy kid. So if creepy kids weird you out too much, I wouldn't recommend this, but I love it. I love a good creepy child story. It's well written. You can definitely tell it's written by a man, not to say that that's terrible, but it definitely has tones of the way that it talks about women and describes them and what they want to do to women, and not like in a tongue-in-cheek way. Like, it just felt gross, you know? Like, I love Stephen King, don't get me wrong, I love his books, but he does the same thing where when he talks about a woman, he describes her in a way that sounds like almost kind of gross. But I did like this. I'm not complaining. I think I gave it 4 or 5 stars. I just can't remember exactly. I do like it. It was short, sweet, to the point. I like how terrifying the situation would be if you were in this situation. It's about this guy who goes into a supermarket looking for a specific item. He finds this woman and child. The woman looks emaciated and awful, and the kid is screaming, and then some crazy crap happens. This child gets put into his life and he has to deal with it, and there's a lot of spooky stuff going on, and that's all I want to say because I don't want to ruin it for you since it is so short. If you are interested in that, check this out. I think I read it in like an afternoon. It's less than 100 pages, even including the back little bits. It was fun. It was a fun time. Very creepy. I bet this would have a really good audiobook if you put the right sound effects in it. And I love a good horror novella. So if you've got any recommendations, especially physical, because I do read some digital, but I prefer physical form, let me know in the comments, because I think the first one I read was Dead of Winter. It had like a snowy trees with a skull in it. I'll put a picture of it right here so you can see, but I really like that one as well. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I did read a decent amount this month. I like what I read overall, and I do recommend most of what I read to a certain extent, -1 unless you find it used. I have bought so much manga and books lately, and I want to show you in a haul. I just need to get all of them together because they're in so many different places, because I've just haven't had time to organize my shelves right now. But when I do, I promise I'll film it for you and upload that and get it up as quickly as I can. Life is crazy as heck right now. I've told you about us opening up our first official, like, our own space studio, and just to reiterate, that is going to take a lot of my time, and I do want to share some of that with you in my vlogs. So if you're interested in that part of our lives, feel free to watch the vlogs. I know that the vlogs are not for everyone. They're not everyone's cup of tea. I don't always watch everyone on BookTube and MangaTube's vlogs, but there are some creators who I absolutely watch every single vlog they make. And there are some people who I only watch their vlogs and don't watch their other content. So I do understand that to each their own on vlogs, but I love making them, and they really are kind of like a time capsule for myself. I love to go back and watch really old vlogs that I made, like back in 2014, and just see what my life was like back then and how weird I was. But you can private them anytime you want, you know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.